Okay, so let's continue with whatever we did last. Last, I had discussed about the adjustments under partnership final accounts. Okay, the necessary ledgers and adjustments as per the partnership final accounts. Okay, the basics ones I had discussed. So let's move on to how do you treat goodwill under admission of a partner. Okay, so first try and understand what is goodwill. Okay, so an admission is given to a new partner. Okay, the reason why admission of a partner is done. So admission is given to a new partner when he or she brings his share of capital and share of goodwill to the firm. Okay, now what is this goodwill? Goodwill is the high amount of profit expected in future due to the past reputation of the firm. So when a new partner brings in when he brings in capital, okay, or you can say when goodwill is brought in by the new partner has to compensate the I mean the new partner has to compensate the old partners for their sacrifice of share in future profits and the efforts made by them in the past to build up the reputation and goodwill of the firm. Okay, so what does it mean that when there is an entry of a new partner in final accounts in in partnership, that time the adjustments with respect to capital, with respect to reserves, and with respect to goodwill are made in the books on the date of the admission of the partner. Okay, so let's see how do you treat goodwill under admission of a partner. Okay, now before coming to this, I would like to highlight to you that if the new partner pays cash for goodwill to the old partners privately, so then no entry is passed in the books of accounts. Okay, but in other cases, when the adjustment for goodwill in the books at the time of admission of a new partner depends on following factors. Now, which are these following factors? That is what is there on the screen. It says when goodwill is brought in cash. Okay, so it is known as goodwill purchased or also known as the premium method. And the other one, whether the goodwill account is merely revalued in the books. So this is known as the non-purchased goodwill or the revaluation method. Okay, then the other concept says when the goodwill account already appears in the books. The third concept says whether the partners decide to maintain the goodwill account in the books or not. Okay, so there are three reasons behind it. Okay, so let us understand the first, that when goodwill is brought in cash. So whenever goodwill is brought in cash, we are going to pass two entries by default. First, goodwill brought in cash by the new partners. Okay, so what did I say? Goodwill, and it is in cash. So my journal entry will be cash is coming in to cash account debit to goodwill account. Okay, and immediately जैसे ही वो goodwill लाएगा in cash the new partner, वो old partners में by default distribute हो जाएगा. In which ratio? In their sacrifice ratio. Okay, I repeat, as soon as cash goodwill is brought in the business, matlab goodwill is brought in cash by the new partner, you will pass the entry cash to goodwill. Okay, this will be the first treatment, and immediately you are going to distribute goodwill to the old partners in their sacrifice ratio. Okay, so you have to remember these 3 points. I have written this entry will be passed. Which entry I am talking about? I am talking about entry number 2. Okay, so which talks about distribution of goodwill to the old partners in their sacrifice ratio. So this entry you have to pass by default, whether it is given in the question or it is not given in the question. अगर क्वेश्चन में दिया है तो आपको तो पास करना ही है, नहीं भी दिया है तो भी आपको ये इफेक्ट देना है. Okay, and it will be distributed among the old partners in sacrifice ratio. And how are you going to calculate the sacrifice ratio? It will be old ratio minus the okay new ratio. Okay, yeah. So अगर sacrifice ratio question में नहीं दिया है, then old ratio will be equal to sacrifice ratio. Okay, then third, goodwill withdrawn by old partners. Okay, now this entry will be passed only if the question specifies that there is a withdrawal of goodwill. Okay, so the journal entry will be old partners capital account debit to cash, because this is a goodwill brought in cash. So the withdrawal will also be old partner's capital account debit to cash. Okay, so when you are passing the third entry, so this is the note that you have to remember, keep in mind. So I've written this entry means entry number 3. This entry has to be passed only when it is specified in the question. As I said earlier, same entry will be passed for full or partial withdrawal of goodwill. Okay. Next, it says, yeah, and only a part of goodwill is brought in by the new partner. Okay. Only one part of goodwill is brought in by the new partner. So the journal entry will be cash account debit and the new partner's capital account to goodwill account. Okay. So this word is important. Only part of goodwill. That means his share of goodwill. Okay. His share means the new partner's share. Fine. So this note is applicable to this. New partner will be debited for the amount not brought by him by way of goodwill, and his capital will be reduced to the extent of amount debited. Okay, say for example, if he's, yeah, goodwill is 10,000, but his share is say 6. So baki ka 4 will be in cash like this. Okay, yeah. So new partner's capital will be debited for the amount not brought by him by way of goodwill. Next, what did I tell you? Goodwill brought in cash. And dusra, what did I tell you? Goodwill not in cash. So when I say goodwill not in cash, it means goodwill is raised. So what is the journal entry for goodwill raised? Yeah, goodwill account debit to old partner's capital account. And what are you going to remember for this? That this goodwill will be distributed among old partners in which ratio? In their old ratio. Okay. Then if partners decide not to maintain goodwill account, means it has to be written off. Okay. So my journal entry will be all partners capital account debit to goodwill account. In which ratio? In their new ratio. Okay. So this is what you have to remember. When goodwill is raised, it will be goodwill to old partners in their old ratio. But अगर बोला है raised goodwill को write off करने को बोला है, तो this will be the entry. Okay. Raised goodwill को write off करने के लिए बोला है, so it will be all partners capital to goodwill account. Okay. So what are you going to remember for this? See, this goodwill will be distributed to all partners in their new ratio. Okay. And how will you calculate your sacrifice ratio? So this is the formula which I said earlier also. It will be old ratio minus your new ratio. Okay. Now, the most important part that you have to remember while doing sums on admission of a partner is, okay, it will be with respect to the dates. Okay, with respect to the dates. Okay, तो अभी मैं आपको एक चीज बताती हूँ. अगर आपका बैलेंस शीट क्लोजिंग है 31st December, okay, 31st December, और पार्टनर मतलब आपका ओपनिंग क्या होगा 1st January, ठीक है, और पार्टनर एडमिट हुआ है से 1st July को. ओके, ये आपका ओपनिंग है, ये आपका क्लोजिंग है और ये एडमिशन डेट है. ठीक है, तो अभी पार्टनर बीच में आया. ठीक है, तो मतलब जब आप आपका प्रॉफिट्स शेयर करोगे तो कैसे बनेगा? प्री पीरियड और पोस्ट पीरियड. प्री पीरियड मतलब the time when the new partner was not there in the firm, and post period matlab the time when the new partner was there in the firm. Okay, so just understand, if a partner is admitted in between the year, then your P&L account will be also divided as pre period and post period. Okay, because he has been admitted in between the year, so he is liable for the profits from the date he has been admitted into the partnership firm and not before that. Okay, and if he is admitted on 1st January only, फिर तो सवाल ही नहीं उठता प्री पोस्ट का. ओके, फिर तो आपका एक ही कॉलम बनेगा, सब पोस्ट वाले ही होगा, because he is admitted on the same date. Okay, so you have to be careful about this aspect. Okay, तो इसमें क्या होगा, I'll just show you how it will how your accounts will be prepared or how your ledgers will be prepared. Okay, so just try and understand. See, if I'm making a trading account, I'll just show you a rough figure. What do you mean by that pre and post? ठीक है, अगर हम ये ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट बना रहे हैं, ठीक है, तो ओपनिंग स्टॉक कम्स ऑन द डेबिट साइड, योर purchases comes on the debit side with less purchase return. Okay, see, I'm taking the figures like this here. Sales will come here, बराबर, less sales return. ठीक है ना, इधर आएगा, इसको I will take it in the outer column. फिर I will be taking my closing stock. Okay, here, correct. And what else will I have? If I have any factory related expenses over here, okay, factory expenses, so I can take it here. And when I close this column, okay, so I will get, yeah, gross profit, correct. Now what I'm trying to say, try to understand, when I will make the P&L account, now see how it works. I'll be preparing, what did I tell you, pre and post. Okay, yeah, this is my pre period and this is my post period. Okay, I repeat, I will be preparing the pre and the post period. Same goes here, pre and post. Okay, so I give you an example. 1st January, and he is admitted when? 1st July, correct? So that means, yeah, both will be of post and pre will be equal. Okay, my post and pre period is going to be equal. What I'm trying to explain you here is, say for example, I have salaries with me. Okay, salaries. Say my salaries are 60,000. Okay, so how will I show it? I will show 30,000 here and I will show 30,000 here. Okay, then say I have rent. Say my rent is 30,000. So I'm going to divide this as pre and post, 15,000 and 15,000. Okay, what I mean to say is your expenses will be distributed in time ratio. And how will you calculate your time ratio? You will calculate your time ratio based on pre and post period. Simple as that. It will be distributed in the ratio of pre and post period. So in this case, I took 6 and 6. It could be opposite also. Okay. If say opening is 1st January और partner आया say 1st April को, right? तो 1st April से लेके 31st December तक हो जाता है 9 months, which is post, and 1st January से लेके 31st March तक हो जाता है 3 months. Okay, so ये pre ये post, तो मेरा time ratio क्या हो जाएगा, 1:3. Okay, so my expenses in P&L will be distributed purely in this ratio. Okay, so I mean to say that. ठीक है, तो अब से हम जब भी सम्स करेंगे पार्टनरशिप फाइनल अकाउंट्स के with respect to admission of a partner, so my P&L account will be now divided as pre and post period. Okay, so we will look into the dates, whether it is admission is in between the year, or it is at the beginning of the year, or it is at the end of the year. Okay, because based on that your expenses will be divided. Okay, so this is the concept of pre and post period for admission of a partner. Okay, so next lecture may we will deal with sums, and we will also see how the expenses will be divided on time ratio, sales ratio, and actual basis, etc. Okay, so that I will be covering in the next lecture.